Okay guys, today is October 7th and the last video I made is in July. And I just want to start off by saying that I'm extremely nervous about coming out here and making a video again. Lots of things have been going on in these 3 months and kind of my confidence level is kind of like right now. I'm not feeling the same confidence as I did in the other videos when I run out here and just make a video and share all the things. So I just want to say that right away. But as I was coming out here, I was like, oh yeah, I was at Lowe's yesterday and I saw this new phone like thing to hold it in your car. And I was like, well, I might as well get that because God's really on me about getting back up to making these videos. And when I opened it, the way the packaging came out, all it said right there was be you. Like, I really don't have anything to be nervous about. I'm just gonna keep on being who I am and sharing the real things that I go through in life, because there's probably somebody else who's going through it too. But again, I'm going to save all this where have I been, what have I been up to for the next video. Still the same me, not having enough water, so back to sipping on my water in front of you guys all the time. But this video, it really, I wasn't planning on making one. Like, God was getting me prepped to start making this video again, and I didn't have anything prepared really. Look, I scratched this on a piece of paper really quickly, and the like icing on the cake for me to make this video today, I was talking to somebody. In the middle of talking to somebody, I heard in my head a song by BTS, of course, but I don't really know much of that song at all. I really never listened to it. And I thought that they said, feeling me now, feeling me now. And I didn't even know what song it was. So I called my sister. I was like, what song is that? Where they're like, feeling me now, feeling me now. And she's like, I think that's Black Swan. So I went to go watch the lyrics. They don't even say feeling me now. They literally say, film it now. Not filming me now, film it now. So I was like, okay, I can keep doing what I've been doing and avoiding making the video, or I could just film it now. And I was like, I don't even have anything really written down about my where have I been video. And God's like, don't do that one, do the one that you don't really have to think too much about. So that's what I'm doing. It really branches off the last video I made about Turkey. So if you watched the last video I made in July, it was the dreams that God had led me to share about, to stop eating, still stuttering, to stop eating chicken and to start eating turkey. Now, in that video, I had shared a dream, and I'll I'll put the link in the description, even though it really is the last video I made, so you could find it really easily. I talk about how a dream, again, this is a dream, that I had gone to a vet's office, and that's where that vet had shown me that the chicken, I'll just retell the dream a little bit. So I shared in that dream that I was at a vet clinic, or in that video, that I was at the vet clinic and they brought out a plate of like chicken, but I left out that it was like fried chicken or chicken tenders, okay? And I knew it was a bird that had just died, and then they showed me the x-rays. I even did that video, this weird thing with my fingers, because the bones were all like raggedy in the wings, and it was placed on me that we're not able to see that on the outside the chicken looks healthy, but on the inside there's so much going on. There's so many things that they're pumping into these chickens that are actually making us sick. I even shared a dream where I had said I was still feeding chicken to my family, because I was like, what should I do with this info? And in that other dream, I literally turned around and put my backside in the oven and either passed gas or did number 2 in there, and then turned around. I was like, oh yeah, I can still feed this to my family, which is basically, if I had done the number 2 in the dream, which I couldn't remember, is I'm feeding the bad word version of the word poop to my family and being like, yeah, they can eat this, whatever. I also shared in that video about eggs and getting farm fresh eggs and trying to go to farmers markets instead of going to the store to buy your eggs that are being processed. Now, from that video to now, so 3 months, God has been bringing things back to me, but for a very specific reason. So I'm going to share that in that dream where I went to the vet's office, I didn't share the whole dream, because in my human mind, the first part of that dream, how I even got to the vet, it didn't really make sense to me to put it in the video. Okay, so now I'm going to share that beginning part of the dream that I didn't share in that video, which really briefly, I was walking with a wagon because I didn't have a car, and I had a dog in the wagon that was one of my own dogs that it had hurt its leg. And so when I went to the vet's office, I was like, oh, my dog hurt its leg. And then they took the dog, and then that's when the other guy came in and started telling me about the chicken. So I just left out the dog part and shared with you guys the stuff about the chicken. I had a new dream, and in this dream, I was at a restaurant on the bar side, and there was a bunch of women there, but I was the only like white girl or Asian girl. Everyone else was black because it was a predominantly black church who was having a women's meeting, but I was invited there. So I went there and I was talking, and I told the girl, I was like, I don't know how we were talking about chicken, but I was sharing her this dream. And I said, hey, I had this dream once. So in my dream, I'm telling her about this dream about the chicken. So I was like, yeah, I was taking my dog to the vet. And when I got to the vet, I was like, oh, my dog hurt its leg. And she said, what does the dog have to do with the dream about the chicken? And I was like, well, I just wanted to share that because I didn't share in the first one. And then she answered to me, oh, you are correct. When God gives you a dream or a vision, you need to share the entire dream and vision. That's what she said to me. So I told her the whole beginning part about the dog and me taking to the vet and it hurting its leg, and then the guy coming in and talking about the chicken, which I'm not going to say it again because I just did, and if you really want to hear the original time I shared it, it's in the last video. But by the time, and this is back into the dream, when I was done sharing the whole thing, I said to her, the reason why the dog thing is important is because that part already happened. That was the end of the dream. So here I'm going to tell you why that's important. In real life, okay, in real life, my dog, who's blind, his name is Bruno, he was walking, and we recently moved, and that's a big story. I'll share that in the next video. He was trying to get familiar with the layout of the home and the layout of the outside, and when he went outside, more than one dog tried to go out the door at the same time, and they knocked him over the little step. It's a tiny step, but he's blind and he's 14 years old. And I ended up having to take him to the vet. On the way to the vet, my tire got flat and we had to pull over on the side of the road. So we didn't have a car to take him to the vet because the tire was flat. Now in real life, we put the spare on, but if you relate it back to the dream, I rolled my dog to the vet in a wagon. I will repeat this story about the car thing in another video because y'all, it goes with other things. But my dog, when they did the x-ray, I thought he had hurt his ankle or sprained his leg, but his hip popped out of socket, and he was too old to actually have a successful surgery, so we did have to put him down, which was miserable. I cried. I'm not going to cry about it now. I've already processed this. But this is the little card that the vet clinic sent me about, we're sorry for your loss for Bruno. So I'm not making this up. My dog passed away. But that is how it related to the dream, or the way God was showing me in the new dream about sharing everything in the dream, because part of it has already come true. The part where my dog hurt its leg and I never saw the dog again in the dream, that came true. My dog hurt his leg. He had to be put down. I did not bring him back home. So that's why I felt like making this video about the turkey and the chicken made more sense, because that was the last video I made, and it's easy for you guys to find that video if you want to go watch the original one. In the meantime, I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me about her little dog was having just this bout of diarrhea, and she was having to clean up after her dog. It's a senior dog. And she was saying, you know what's weird is I, for 10 days, had to get up in the middle of the night to go diarrhea too. And then she said, and then I just started putting it together. What did the dog eat that had made her have diarrhea? And what did I eat that made me have diarrhea? And chicken. She cooked some chicken and she shared some with her dog, and they both ended up having diarrhea. And then I was at the hospital. I have so much stuff to update you guys about. Then I was at the hospital and I was talking to one of the nurses there, and she was talking about how people in the food, like the FDA will say, well, instead of saying, yes, these animals are having antibiotics pumped into them and medications pumped into them, they'd rather say that they put out a warning on how people should be cooking their food. And if we get diarrhea or stomach bugs or something from it, it's because we don't know how to prepare it. It takes the blame off of what they're doing to the chickens that could be causing us to have upset stomach, salmonella, sickness, things like that. Now, I also passed by a restaurant that was on the same street as my dad's house, and it's a soul food restaurant, and they have a big sign out there right now that says we can fry your turkey or cook your turkey for you. So God's keep leading me back to turkey. Then I just want to add, it's like being presented to me that they aren't doing to some turkeys. Like, take everything back to God. I'm just a person, but this is the way I'm feeling like it's being presented to me. They are not doing to turkeys the same things that they are doing to chickens. And so now that it's around the time where turkeys are going to be popping up in the store, me and my husband had talked about buying more than one turkey, because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but go buy the turkeys and start cooking them and preparing them and freezing them and storing them so that we don't have to go buy chicken and we don't have to worry about trying to find turkey later, because we will be prepared for that coming up, because we're going to try to buy more turkey now that it's out and available more readily. Also, it's just being led to me that if you want to eat chicken, you need to buy them as babies or whatever and raise your own chickens. Like I said, we recently moved, and side note, God's been leading me to sunflowers big time for many other reasons. But in the place where we moved, in the very back corner, there was this big, huge thing of sunflowers. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I walked over there to get a close look at it. But what I saw was on the opposite side of the fence, the neighbors had in their backyard a big chicken coop on the other side of those sunflowers. So I decided, one, I was going to keep the sunflowers there anyways, but definitely to keep my dogs from getting closer to the fence. It's a thick area of sunflowers, so my dogs can't really mess with the neighbors' chickens. There's a fence there, but you know how dogs are. Then I had to call AT&T, that's my phone service provider, and I had to call them to make some changes on there, take a phone line off. You know, I have adult kids, so they got their own lines, and the woman talking to me just out of conversation, because we were on the phone and she was doing stuff, started telling about her and her husband, how they have this land and they're raising their own chickens and stuff. I was like, okay, God, I hear you. You are leading me back to farm chickens and farm fresh eggs. I even saw a YouTube short of a woman who had boiled some eggs that looked regular on the outside, but when she boiled them, she peeled them, and all the whites had these black, like, weird lines and chunks missing that almost looked like it was rotting the whites of the eggs, because she said the yolks were fine, but the white part was just nasty and actually black. I also was led to Strong's Greek 1000, which means egg. It's either Strong's Greek 1000, sorry, Strong's Greek or Hebrew 1000, which means egg. I didn't write it down. Then I kept getting led to fried chicken, like the words fried chicken and chicken tenders. And then I kept noticing Chick-fil-A signs, so I'll like, don't eat this chicken. And then also, even though you guys, a lot of people love Chick-fil-A, I'm not a fan of it, but not even them, don't eat that chicken. And then my sister yesterday started telling me about her son. My nephew had a friend, and a long time ago, he had mentioned that he never ate anything from Wingstop before. Even his sister worked at Wingstop, and she never brought anything home from Wingstop for him to eat. So that was more things about someone not eating chicken. So I think that is about it for this chicken thing. Just take everything back to God. But again, try to steer clear from chicken unless you're raising your own, or you're buying farm fresh eggs, or you're going to a farmer who's raising their chickens properly without antibiotics and medications being pumped into them. And lean more toward buying turkey. So guys, always find the light, try to stay in the light, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.